Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. All right, y'all, hold on to your seats. I've got some stunning news. Now, I'm not going to be overly dramatic, and I'm not going to involve whole nations of people, just like everybody in Africa and everybody in the Caribbean is involved in this. But there is a specific group of people who have gotten totally out of their lane and are behaving in what I consider erratic ways. And I'm talking about these people on social media who have spiraled out of control, making threats, harassing Black Americans, and having a full-blown meltdown over Black Americans naming ourselves, delineating our lineage, and minding our business. Now, what's wild about this is that Black Americans seem to be surprised and, just maybe a little bit stunned, but not totally alarmed because honestly, this doesn't make any sense. So, some Black Americans are just amused by it. We had no idea that people inside and outside this country were so emotionally invested in our identity, our lineage, and our day to day business. We're over here living our lives, and suddenly there's a Jamaican filmmaker posting a Sacrifice Black Americans movie. Now, that within itself is astounding. Still want somebody else to be the answer to their problems. They've got all kinds of problems going on down there in Jamaica, but all she could think to do was to make a movie about sacrificing Black Americans. So this just shows you how insane this behavior has gotten. And we saw the African woman talking about strapping a you know what to herself and blowing us all up. And people who don't even live in the United States are cheering this on. It's totally bizarre. So today, we're going to talk about how this discourse went from regular diaspora debates to full on unhinged behavior, and why Black Americans are watching it with confusion, amusement, actually, a raised eyebrow, and a bowl of popcorn. Because it's very entertaining to see how these people are behaving, because it doesn't make any sense. Let's start here. Black Americans have been naming ourselves, defining our lineage, and setting boundaries. FBA, ADOS, whatever term you prefer. It's simply about clarity. It's about history. It's about identity. And it's about finally being specific about who we are in this country. Most people understand that. But a small, loud corner of the diaspora, they've taken it as a personal attack. And instead of having a conversation, they've launched into full scale meltdowns. Now, that is because they have never shown any respect for us or our lineage. And now that we've said, this is the line, this is the gate, this is where it stops, they are continuing the disrespect. And I'm not sure what they are expecting to accomplish, because the delineation has happened as far as Black Americans are concerned. So we're not going back to some time when they thought we were all just one big Black group of people. That's never going to come back around. In fact, I don't think it's going to come back around anytime soon. So the sooner these people start making the adjustment, the better off we're all going to be. Because with the behavior that they're exhibiting online, some of them are going to end up in some serious trouble, because some of that stuff that they're doing out of anger is actually criminal behavior. So they need to check themselves before they wreck themselves. Let's talk about behavior, because that's what this video is about. A Jamaican woman making a video about sacrificing Black Americans. And Miss Jamaican lady, you don't see anything wrong with that. An African woman talking about strapping a bomb to herself. You don't see anything wrong with that, lady? And you've got people who don't even live in the United States cheering this stuff on. You have never asked yourself, why? Why do I care about what Black Americans are doing? This isn't cultural debate. This isn't disagreement. This is harassment, it's cyberbullying, and it's violent rhetoric. And yes, these individuals are being reported to the appropriate authorities because threats are threats. And what gets lost in all of this is that Black Americans are the ones who advocated for them to come to the United States. We wanted fellowship with them. We wanted a relationship with them. We did not understand the cultural differences between them and us, but our hearts were in the right place. We were on the right side of history. We did, or at least our ancestors did, what they thought was right, and we didn't lose anything by trying. But it was a failed experiment, and now that we recognize that, it's time to move on. So that's where we are now. And our moving on means that we're not going to try to explain anything anymore. We have spent decades trying to explain our situation, trying to make people understand who we are, what we've been through, what we've had to do to get where we are. They're not interested in that. They're only interested in leeching and mocking and trying to be smartasses. That's all we really see from them. And so the gig is up. It's time to let them go on, do what they do. And it's really quite bizarre what they're doing. Because actually, we're over here minding our business, living our lives, going to work, raising families, and suddenly we're the main characters in somebody else's emotional crisis. And the fact of the matter is, it's something they're going to have to deal with. But it truly is bizarre. And it's unexpected because the question remains, what are you upset about somebody else's life for? So really, it's kind of embarrassing for them. Now, if we were curious about what's causing this meltdown and wanted to explore it, there is something specific that we could look at. For years, some people assumed that Black American identity was a free for all, that anyone could claim it, step into it, or speak over it. But once Black Americans started saying, no, this is our lineage, our culture, our history, the illusion shattered. And instead of adjusting, some people are reacting with hostility. So that means when the gate went up, they got mad. Now, I don't want to make this situation any worse than what it is. So to wrap it up, this video is not about Africans or Caribbeans as a whole. I know all of them are not involved in this, but it is about the small group of people who have taken online discourse to a disturbing and unnecessary extreme. Black Americans are not threatened, we're not intimidated, and we're not losing sleep over this. We're just watching, confused and amused, and wondering how our simple act of naming ourselves turned into international chaos. And if anything, this whole situation has revealed something unexpected. Some people are far more invested in Black American identity than we ever imagined. And that is the question that these people need to ask themselves. Why? Why do I care what Black Americans call themselves? Why do I care whether or not Black Americans delineate and become their own ethnic group? Why is that of concern to me? Why do I feel threatened by that? These are some questions that people need to ask themselves about their reaction to what Black Americans are doing. Because we are absolutely within our rights to do what we're doing, and we're not bothering anybody. We're not threatening anybody. Most of us are not even calling anybody names. And no responsible Black American is encouraging or approving any other Black American getting online, doing things and saying things that are disrespectful, threatening, or just harassing. That's not the point. Harassing other people is not the point. So we're just building some necessary fences. You know what they say? Good fences make good neighbors. So we're just being good neighbors. But anyway, y'all, let me know what you think about this video. Thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs up. Stay warm out there and have a great day.